the flicker of a light, the sudden malfunction of a clock. These are more than mere coincidences. These are the silent languages of spirits, trying to bridge the gap between two worlds.
Have you ever felt a chill run down your spine, or the air around you grow inexplicably cold? These sensations might be more than just your imagination. They could be signs that a spirit is nearby. Across cultures and through the ages, stories and beliefs about spirits have permeated folklore and religious texts. Today, we are looking into the realm of the unseen. Our video will guide you through 10 different ways to detect the presence of a spirit. Whether you're a believer or a skeptic, keep an open mind as we explore these mysterious phenomena. One of the most commonly reported signs of a spirit's presence is a sudden change in temperature. Imagine sitting in your room, reading a book or watching TV, when suddenly the temperature drops. The room feels noticeably colder without any logical reason. No windows open, no air conditioning turned on. This sudden change can be startling. But why do we associate cold spots with spirits? It's believed that spirits require energy to manifest in the physical world, and one way they might gather this energy is by absorbing heat from the environment. This absorption process could result in noticeable cold spots. Conversely, a sudden warmth in a previously cool area could also indicate a spirit's presence. This phenomenon is not just about feeling cold or warm. It's about these changes occurring inexplicably and suddenly, often in a specific, localized area. Another intriguing way spirits may make their presence known is through sense. This is not about ordinary everyday smells. These are distinct, often unexplainable scents that appear out of nowhere and disappear just as quickly. You might be home alone and suddenly catch a whiff of floral perfume, tobacco smoke, or the distinct smell of a dish that someone you loved used to cook. These scents are usually associated with the deceased and can evoke powerful memories. But what could be causing these mysterious scents? There are a few theories. One is that spirits can manifest using familiar scents to communicate their presence, offering comfort, or perhaps a reminder of their past lives. Another possibility is that these scents are encoded in a place where significant events happened, essentially recordings of past activities that can randomly play back under the right conditions. Have you ever put something down, like your keys or a book, only to find it in an entirely different place later on? When objects mysteriously move from where you left them, it could be another signal of a spirit's presence. This phenomenon is not just about misplacing things. It involves objects that seem to move with no explanation, often in ways that defy simple logic. This type of activity can range from subtle to dramatic. Perhaps a picture frame consistently turns to face the wall, or an item you just placed on the table ends up on the floor, even though no one else is home. These movements often catch us off guard, making us question our memory and senses. The theory behind these occurrences is that spirits might interact with physical objects to make themselves known or communicate a message. Moving objects could be a spirit's way of drawing attention to something important or simply a manifestation of their playful nature. It's crucial to observe these movements without bias and consider environmental factors, but when all other explanations fall short, the possibility of a spirit's influence might come to the forefront. In today's digital world, our lives are surrounded by electronics, and these devices might also be susceptible to spiritual interference. Unexplained electronic disturbances can be one of the more eerie signs of a spirit's presence. This includes lights flickering, televisions turning on or off by themselves, radios changing stations without human intervention, or phones starting to act strangely. Why would spirits interact with electronic devices? One idea is that spirits might be able to manipulate electrical currents or use the energy emitted by these devices to manifest or communicate. Flickering lights or a suddenly noisy radio could be attempts by a spirit to show its presence or even to deliver a message. These disturbances are often fleeting and unpredictable, which makes them both intriguing and unsettling. If you experience this kind of activity, it might be helpful to note the circumstances under which these disturbances occur and any possible triggers. But just like with other signs, it's important to rule out all possible natural explanations, such as electrical faults or issues with the devices themselves, before attributing these occurrences to spirits. As we continue our exploration of the signs that might indicate a spirit is nearby, remember that each sign on its own may not be conclusive. It's the accumulation of evidence, and the elimination of other explanations that often guide us to consider the presence of the spiritual. Each of these signs opens up new avenues for understanding the unseen, urging us to consider what lies beyond the veil of our current understanding. As we move forward, keep an open mind and consider how these phenomena might fit into your own experiences. Moving deeper into the mysterious signs of a spirit's presence, let's consider the unexplained sounds that often fill the air with curiosity, and sometimes trepidation. Imagine hearing footsteps in an empty hallway, knocks coming from within the walls, or a faint whisper when you're certain no one else is around. These sounds usually have no visible source, which can make them particularly unnerving. Such auditory phenomena may serve as potent indicators that a spirit is near. The sounds are typically specific and purposeful, like knocking 3 times or footsteps that pace back and forth. Theories suggest that spirits use these sounds as a means of communication or as a way to alert us to their presence. It's interesting to note that these sounds often mimic everyday noises, which might make them easier for the living to recognize and react to. When you encounter such sounds, it's important to consider the environment. Old buildings naturally settle, and pipes can make odd noises. But when these explanations don't quite fit, and the sounds seem to carry a pattern or a message, the possibility of a spirit trying to make contact might seem more plausible. Another profound and often unsettling experience is the sensation of being watched. This feeling can occur anywhere and at any time, creating an atmosphere of intense awareness and sometimes discomfort. It's a visceral feeling that someone or something is observing you, even though you are alone. This phenomenon is hard to quantify but is frequently reported in encounters with the unknown. This sensation might be explained by the heightened sensitivity we have when we think about or dwell on the possibility of otherworldly presences. But some believe that this feeling is a direct indication of a spirit's presence. Spirits, as some theories suggest, might emanate a certain energy that we can subconsciously detect, triggering our instincts that we are not alone. When you feel like you're being watched, take a moment to assess the situation. Are there any other signs from this list occurring simultaneously? Does the feeling intensify in specific parts of your home or at certain times? These considerations can help distinguish between a simple, uneasy feeling and a potential spiritual presence. Animals are often believed to have a heightened sense of awareness and can sometimes behave in ways that suggest they are sensing something humans cannot. Have you ever noticed your pet staring intently at an empty space or barking at a corner where nothing visible is present? These reactions can be intriguing and sometimes a little spooky. Pets, particularly cats and dogs, might show signs of distress, alertness, or curiosity towards something unseen. They may follow something invisible across the room with their eyes, growl or hiss at an empty space, or even appear to play with an unseen companion. The behavior is notable because it is uncharacteristic and specific to certain areas or times. The theory here is that animals, with their different sensory perceptions, can detect subtle energy shifts or presences that escape human senses. Observing your pet's behaviors can provide clues that, when coupled with other signs on this list, might suggest a spirit's presence. It's important, however, to ensure that these behaviors are not due to environmental stressors or health issues, which should be the first considerations before attributing them to the paranormal. Seeing shadows flit across walls, noticing out of the corner of your eye movements, or even encountering full apparitions can be among the most direct experiences of a spirit's presence. These visual phenomena often occur briefly and unexpectedly, leaving the witness questioning their own eyes. Shadows or figures that appear without any discernible source can create a palpable sense of mystery and sometimes fear. These apparitions might be seen as fleeting shadows or detailed figures. Although full apparitions are rare, they are often described as being so vivid that they are initially mistaken for living beings. Skeptics might attribute such visions to tricks of the light, optical illusions, or simply the mind's powerful ability to conjure images during times of stress or fear. Yet, for those who have experienced them, these visions can feel incredibly real. It's crucial to consider other environmental factors, such as lighting and the individual's mental and emotional state, when experiencing these phenomena. However, when other explanations do not suffice, the possibility of a spiritual encounter could be considered. A particularly intimate and startling sign that a spirit might be nearby is the sensation of being touched when no one else is around. Some individuals report feeling a hand on their shoulder, a gentle tug on their clothing, or a soft caress against their skin, an experience both inexplicable and unnerving. These sensations often occur at moments of deep emotional significance, suggesting that they might be a form of communication from the spirit world. The touch is usually described as distinct, but not threatening, as if a departed loved one is reaching out to offer comfort or reassurance. While these experiences are deeply personal, they prompt us to consider the boundaries between the physical world and the spiritual. When experiencing such a sensation, it's important to assess the environment, to rule out any possible natural causes, like drafts or other physical contacts. However, when no such explanations suffice, the idea that a spirit could be attempting to make a gentle contact remains a compelling consideration for many. Lastly, sudden unexplained emotional shifts can be a subtle yet profound indicator of a spirit's presence. Imagine walking into a room and suddenly feeling an overwhelming sense of sadness, joy, or nostalgia without any apparent reason. These emotions can wash over you with such intensity that they seem to come from outside rather than welling up from within. It is thought that spirits can evoke emotions that they themselves experienced or that were significant to a particular place. This phenomenon might serve as a spiritual imprint left behind, affecting those sensitive enough to perceive it. Such emotional shifts can provide a deep, sometimes visceral connection to the past and those who have passed on, suggesting that spirits might communicate not only through physical or visual signs, but through emotional energy as well. When encountering sudden emotional changes, it is crucial to consider personal mental health and surroundings first. However, if these shifts are localized to specific environments or associated with other, unexplained phenomena, they might suggest a deeper spiritual presence. As we conclude our exploration of the 10 signs that might indicate a spirit is nearby, it's important to remember that each sign should be considered thoughtfully and skeptically. The presence of one, or even a few of these signs alone does not confirm a spirit's presence. Rather, they can provide intriguing clues that, when combined with personal experiences and other evidence, might suggest the unseen. The journey through these signs invites us to open our minds to possibilities beyond the everyday, and to consider the ways in which the spiritual world might intersect with our own. Whether you are a believer in spirits or simply curious about the unknown, recognizing these signs can enrich your understanding of the world around you and perhaps bring you closer to unseen realities. Thank you for joining us in this exploration. Feel free to share your experiences and thoughts in the comments, as each story adds depth and perspective to our ongoing conversation about the mysteries that surround us.